Hey folks, today I've got a full in-depth review of the new GoPro Volta, which is a battery charging grip and stick. So it's kind of like a selfie stick, but it's also got a remote control built into it, as well as a battery pack. Now you have to excuse the camera angle a little bit today. I forgot my tripod on this trip, so I've got the GoPro on a coconut tree with a USB cord, and the coconut tree is kind of swaying a bit here in the wind, but I think it'll all work out. Now starting off with what's in the box, you got the Volta, you got a USB pass-through door that allows you to go ahead and basically plug in the USB cable into the side of your GoPro. You just swap off your old door, put in your new door, and that way it's a little bit more water resistance and the old door like flapping around. And then you've got a thumb screw, and also not pictured here, you've got a GoPro charging cable. It's the same cable that came with your camera to begin with. Now there are two ways to use the Volta. The first one is to have it wired where it's plugging in like this. This gives you both control of the GoPro as well as the battery charging capabilities. In the Volta's base right there, so if I kind of flip this out, you can see how big it is. In the base portion right here is a battery. It's a 4900 milliamp hour battery. A normal GoPro battery is about 1720 milliamp hours. So basically this is 3 batteries worth of charging capabilities inside the handle there. So for context on that, if you were to add the one battery that you have in your GoPro, that would give you roughly 4 hours of coconut tree vlogging at a 5.3K and 30 frames per second. And then this USB-C charging cable on the side can charge anything you want that's USB-C, so it could be a phone or whatever else you have in a pinch. And I've got the amperages and wattages along the bottom there. Now, as you can see, there's 2 different ways to have this kind of oriented. One is this direction like here, so that way if I'm doing a selfie style like this, I can see the buttons that I'm pressing. There we go, pop that down, and no problems at all. However, you can also rotate it around. So this entire piece there rotates in different sections and 90-degree chunks all the way around like that. And so now it looks a little more clean, but of course I have the buttons on this side, so it's more for doing like this than it would be like this. Now from an official compatibility standpoint, GoPro has a firmware update for both the Hero 9 and the Hero 10 for this. However, technicality speaking, you can go ahead and pair via Bluetooth as just a normal GoPro remote for any of the older GoPros, including the GoPro Max. The pairing process is silly easy. Just simply plug the cable into the side of the camera, and on the back of it, it'll offer go ahead and complete the pairing process on your behalf, so you don't actually have to do any Bluetooth pairing at all. However, that's only for the Hero 9 and 10. If you have a Hero 8 or anything else prior to that, then it's going to simply pair as a Bluetooth remote. So that gets to some of the control side of it. So on the front or back, depending on which orientation you have, you've got a couple core buttons. There's not a lot of functionality here in terms of the controls, but it's kind of the basics that you'd want. First off is the big red recording button. That'll obviously start and stop at your recordings if you're in video mode. Then if you press the mode button, that switches into either the photo mode or the time-lapse mode in the same way that pressing the mode button on the side of your camera would do. And as you can see at the top, as you press that mode button, it goes ahead and it iterates through the different LED lights showing you whether you're in time-lapse mode, video mode, or photo mode. Meanwhile, at the top, you'll see that little battery button that shows you the battery status of the grip itself in 20% increments from 0% up to 100% in 5 chunks. Oh, hey, and a quick note, if you are finding this video interesting or useful, go ahead and whack that like button at the bottom there. It really does help out this video and the channel quite a bit. Now, right now we've used it primarily in the wire configuration, but I can pop this out and use it entirely in a wireless configuration. Now, in this particular scenario, it doesn't make a ton of sense to do that, to be honest, but what is more interesting is that I can take the camera off, throw it on a different coconut tree, and then go ahead and control it wirelessly from just the grip itself. So now it's just kind of like a normal GoPro grip. Now the Volta will stay in a low power mode for 24 hours. After that, it'll go to sleep and it'll wake it back up again. You gotta press one of the buttons. Now let's walk through some of the core ways that you use this real quick. First off is the most obvious, which is just holding it like a grip like this. The second is on the side there, you see this sticking out. This is if you have one of the GoPro backpacks. You can hook it on like there and it snaps into the GoPro backpack itself. Or you can get rid of these fingers by pressing that little button and it just snaps down in the base. Press the button again and it pops out. Now you'll notice a second ago I did twist this around. As I said earlier, it does do this in 90-degree increments. This is like super sturdy. In fact, it's almost impossible to twist this without a GoPro on there. There's no way this is going to flop around or anything like that. It definitely locks and snaps into place on each one of these. And that's useful because once you put out the legs, the bottom here, so you got these 2 little legs, this slides out. If you had it like this, it'd be sideways. So then you just pop it like this, twist it up, and you can put it on a flat surface. And this is interesting because if you compare this to something like the Shorty stick or the 3-way that I have on the coconut tree right now, this is way more stable on a surface in the winds like this than those other 2 are. Of course, those other 2 have more advantages in other ways that I'll talk about in just a second. And at the bottom, you've got a standard tripod screw right there. So if you want to pop on a tripod, no problems at all. And there's also a lanyard attachment at the bottom there as well. To charge the Volta grip itself, there's a small rubber door on the side there, and there's a USB-C port inside. Now GoPro says this entire thing is water resistant. It's not like going into the water, but in terms of rain and snow, there's no problems like that. You can see right here, I'm dunking it in water. The main limitation is really more the USB-C port on the side of your GoPro. Using the pass-through door that's included, along with the rubber stopper there, it's not going to easily get water in. I can dump this whole bottle of water as you see right now on it, and it's not going to go in there. But again, if you were to submerge it, it wouldn't last that long. Also, it's worth noting you can use it with the media mod as well, as you can see right here. Okay, so having used this now for the past couple of weeks, let's talk about where it fits into like my daily usage. For many years now, I've bought and used basically two core kind of like selfie stick mounts. The first one is the GoPro Shorty stick, it's a little short one, and the second one is the GoPro 3-way, which is the one on the coconut tree. And I use those in kind of two different scenarios. I use the GoPro 3-way when I want versatility for some sort of unique shot. So if I'm cycling, for example, to be able to hold it down to my side and get like an under bike shot or a different angle, because it's got a lot further reach on it than the Shorty stick does. The Shorty stick is simply to hold the GoPro so my hands are not on the mics, screwing up all the audio. That's almost the entire purpose of that, and to give me a tiny bit more reach. And in fact, the Shorty stick's reach is the same as the Volta. Like from a practical purpose standpoint, once I put that little extender part on the top there, it's the same height. In fact, if you put them on a table, it's the same overall height there as well. So if I'm on a run or just like day-to-day stuff, I'm pretty much just gonna have the Shorty and better stick it in my pocket. Versus if I'm out for a ride or want more creative shots, I'm gonna use the 3-way. So where does this fit in? Well, that's a little more tricky. Obviously, the main two features of this are the remote and the battery. And mainly, I would say the battery. The remote is interesting, but after using GoPros for like a decade, I've become second nature with just reaching up like this, pressing the button and starting it and press the mode on the side. Like, I don't even think about that. It just simply happens. So the buttons here, while appreciated, aren't that big a deal for me personally. However, for someone like my wife who has much smaller hands, being able to reach up and grab those buttons is a bit more challenging versus just having this accessible. It's worthwhile noting that while I use GoPros day to day, I don't tend to use them as a vlogging tool day to day. I use other cameras for my A-roll, if you will. So normally I don't have a GoPro in a coconut tree. I normally have a full DSLR camera there shooting me, and then I use the GoPro footage just kind of splintered within the video. For example, one of my review videos yesterday, I just simply used about 30 seconds of GoPro footage holding it like this while I was running, and that's it. So in that scenario, I don't necessarily need to take this whole thing. However, on days where I am doing vlogging, having basically 4 batteries worth within this whole kit here is incredibly useful. It means I don't have to deal with having batteries scattered about my bag, my pockets, getting lost or getting wet, because this is, relatively speaking, kind of water resistant versus a bunch of batteries in a rainstorm, not so much. From a weight standpoint, the 3-way stick and the Volta are almost identical. 260 some odd grams versus 240 some odd grams, very close. In fact, if you hold them side by side, I couldn't tell the difference, my wife couldn't tell the difference. It's so close that it's basically negligible between the two of them. But comparing the Volta to the Shorty stick, that's a huge difference. I mean, the Shorty stick is virtually like nothing at all, and the Volta is obviously considerably heavier. And then finally, the price is $90 for GoPro subscribers and $129 if you're not a GoPro subscriber. I suspect if you're watching this video, you're probably a GoPro subscriber, so it's gonna be $90. As usual, there is like a little bit of that GoPro premium, like price premium, if you will. In this case, I think given like all the pricing in the world kind of going up over the last year, it seems relatively fair if you view it in the context of that. But ultimately, as always, you're paying more for a GoPro branded accessory than you are for anything else. Given there's no other accessories that have native integration of the remote side of it, that's a price you're gonna have to pay if you want that particular functionality. Ultimately, this is a pretty cool little accessory. It's not something, however, that I'm going to utilize personally day to day, but I will have it in my arsenal. I'm gonna go out and buy it and put it in my list of things that I have to pull depending on what I'm doing. I said earlier, if I'm doing a vlog style video, I will probably or absolutely grab this for the day versus having to grab a whole pile of batteries. But to each their own. Anyways, if you found this video interesting or useful, go ahead and whack that like button at the bottom there, or hit subscribe for plenty more sports technology stuff. There's lots to come. With that, have a good one.